how to get a job as a diversity and inclusion officer. And those of you that were at SNH would recognize the character on the bottom left here. That is the person that works at Iron Galaxy Studios. That apparently is a woman that wears a tie and suit, but it is what it is. And I have not read this. I don't know anything about this, but this was linked from that person's webpage. And it was basically saying, hey, I work as a DEI person. I can help you get a job in the industry being a DEI person. So this should be interesting. This is on gameindustry.biz, which is a super woke site. I've been banned on or blocked on X from them by daring to question them like a year ago on something. And it was very innocent what I said. I don't remember what it was, but I was like, damn, they are woke as fuck if they're blocking me for that. Anyways, this is from July 28th, 2021. Our guides can help you find the right path to the game industry job of your dreams. You can read our other in-depth guides on how to get a job in the game industry on this page, covering various areas of expertise. Now, I'll tell you straight up, this is not a skilled labor position. This is just a checkbox position where if you're black or a woman or gay, or you got all three going for you, you basically guaranteed the position as long as you just say that's what you want to do. It doesn't take any actual education. It doesn't take any skill. It just takes box checking. Now, think about that when you're a developer that went to school for it or are self-taught, spent decades on decades working, honing your craft, building the latest games and trying to make the game the best you can. And then you see a DEI agent come in and get paid from you or take money from the company. And you're just like, wait, who's paying this person? Diversity and inclusion are important subjects that often get talked about when their lack in the industry, when the gaming industry is brought into focus. I'm going to read that again. Diversity and inclusion are important subjects that often get talked about when their lack in the gaming industry is brought into focus. What? While missing diversity is still undoubtedly a problem in the industry on the whole, diversity and inclusion officers seek to combat just that at a growing number of companies. And again, this is in the wake of the George Floyd riots. This is July 2021. This was when wokeness was really getting to some peak unhinged levels. But diversity and inclusion, D&I, also known as DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is about more than just building a more diverse workforce. As the name suggests, it is also about helping employees feel more included. Oh, that's great. That's great. And raising awareness about race, gender, and disability issues. Because when I go into work to make a video game, I should be very well aware about the color of the skin of the person next to me, the gender of that person, and their disabilities, because that matters when building a game, right? Knowledge about the responsibilities of diversity and inclusion officers, or even the existence of the role, isn't widespread. That's because it's a fake position. This is not a real job. That's why it's not it's not even like, it wasn't even in the HR books or on any company docket. This was not something that existed because it was never necessary. Because of this, hopefuls may in some cases have to campaign for the establishment of a D&I role themselves. This is basically a dog whistle to people that are looking for a job that they don't have any skills to go knock on a door of a company and be like, hey, where's your diversity and inclusion officer at this company? Oh, you don't have one of those? Oh, I can help you with that. I can do that. I'm a marginalized individual. You just need to pay me some money and I'll do that position for you. Oh, you aren't aware of what it is? Well, it's one of the most rapidly growing positions across the country. But the benefits are clear. I can't wait to indulge in these benefits. A more diverse workforce leads to larger economic success for companies. Press X for doubt. This is wild. Like, I'm going to need a source on this because that is a wild claim to make without having a link to anything. Like, what? And better employee retention. Again, source. What? True North in the house. What's up, True North? While from a social perspective, D&I fosters better understanding between employees and a better workplace climate. There's that word again that I always talk about, that they always use, that word better. Better how? Better for you because you're unskilled and you're getting a job, while it's also pulling everyone else down that was doing well. I guess from your perspective, it's better. Kersha needs to come on here. Yes, I do. I do need to get Kersha on one of these nights. I really do. She's awesome. I think we've seen an uptick in these roles across all industries because we've all become more self-aware. Regis Marshall, head of diversity and inclusion at Iron Galaxy. This is what today's video was on, was Iron Galaxy having massive layoffs. 66 people, nearly 1/3 of the company was cut. Nearly 1/3 of the company was cut. But hold on. What's it say up here? A more diverse workforce leads to larger economic success for companies. And they quote Regis Marshall, head of diversity and inclusion at Iron Galaxy, that just cut 66 employees. It's fascinating. Companies have become more intentional about leveling the playing field and offering a safe space for their employees. Again, I don't understand how this helps make games any better. If anything, it detracts from making games better because it brings in unskilled workers. The task of a diversity and inclusion officer can vary from company to company. So you'll fare best with a skill set that includes several different disciplines. While that can seem daunting, interviewees for this article all agreed that the willingness to learn and communicate are what's most important, not actual skills. Just, hey, I might not have the experience, but I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to communicate. So can you pay me? Can I have a job, please? Pretty please. With that in mind, let's explore the role and impact of a D&I officer and how to best start a career in this field. This is extensive. Holy crap. They really did want to make like an entire guide of how to get a job as a DEI officer. This is wild. What is it and how does it influence? We already know that. We're not going to spend too much time on that. But this is Veronica Heath at Rare. It's about recognizing that diverse teams and truly inclusive behavior impact every aspect of your business. I don't disagree. I think they definitely impact everything. That doesn't mean it's a good thing, though. What are the daily responsibilities of a diversity and inclusion officer? All right, now I'm interested to hear this one. Your daily tasks depend on the needs of your company. This is like, we need to invent not just the title and the name of this position, but we also need to figure out what they even do on a day-to-day basis to be paid either hourly or annually. At its core, diversity and inclusion work is about talking and, more importantly, listening to people. Only once you know how people at the company feel and what their needs are, can you create strategies to help them reach their potential. This screams HR nightmare. When you start letting people open up to what their needs are at the company and giving them strategies to reach their potential, that concerns me from an HR nightmare level of, oh, I feel empowered as an employee that the company's not treating me right because I'm marginalized. I need to sue the company. That's what I'm reading out of this. A big part of my job is about listening to others. By understanding the uniqueness of the person, our team is able to design systems that meet them where they are and accelerate their performance. This can mean research into the climate at a studio. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Research into the climate of a studio? Yeah, let me walk around with my clipboard and take notes and see if there's anything that I can think about on the climate of the studio to see how we can improve and make it better, as well as identifying and solving issues of note. For example, via policy changes, but also facilitating dialogue between employees. That's not an example. That's just, I thought you were going to actually give an example. Event work and company-wide training initiatives. Oh yeah, because I'm sure developers want to sit through additional meetings and trainings on diversity, equity, and inclusion to make them more understanding of people at the company, because that's going to help everyone get along better when there were no issues to begin with in the first place. This is literally the definition of creating a problem and then saying you can solve that problem because you're the one that created it in the first place. I have the key to this, and only I have the key to it because I created the lock. Like, that's what they're doing. Specifically for 2K, our diversity strategy is broken down into 3 focus areas: empowering employees to support one another in building community and sense of belonging. I felt like I belonged at every company I've ever worked at. And if I didn't, I would move on to a different company. I don't understand this. If you go to work at a company and you don't feel like you belong there, that's probably on you, or you're not picking up what you need to do while you're there. Accelerating the hiring, development, and retention, oh, here we go, of African Americans, Latinx, and women globally. Look at that. They literally put it in black and white right here. They literally just write it. Specifically accelerating the hiring, development, and retention of Black, Latin, and women, and enabling an inclusive work environment for all through training and knowledge sharing activities. So bringing in potentially unqualified people and then telling the qualified people that they need to be more understanding and forgiving and be able to work with these people that are going to completely throw a wrench into the well-oiled machine that's running. And if you have an issue with that, that's your fault, which is crazy. Conversation. Recruitment and company communications can be both a large aspect of DEI, as they require inclusive language and address current employees' feedback about what it's like to work at a company. DEI officers work together with HR, particularly in matters of recruitment and employee retention. So imagine this. Imagine if you're a marginalized person and you are brought into a company as a D&I officer, and you work directly with HR in matters of recruitment. What's to stop you from saying, hey, you need to hire my friends because they're all marginalized as well? Well, what skills do they have? Doesn't matter. And if you don't hire them, you're racist or you're sexist. So hire all my friends. And then you start to see companies get filled with the same exact type of person over and over and over again. And one example of that, if I can find it, would be what happened to Iron Galaxy today. And this is something we talked about on Saturday Night Hypnosis tonight. We'll find the picture. Hold on. Here we go. This is Iron Galaxy that just laid off 66 people. Where's the picture that we looked at? Hold on. It's one of these. I think it's one of these. Is this one of the trainings? Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month? What? What? Drag Queen Trivia? Imagine working at this company and being like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable around this at my office. Like, I don't feel like this has anything to do with my work. HR would then look at you as the problem because you aren't getting along. You aren't going along to get along with people. And then you'd be on the hit list to get knocked out of the company. And then they'd bring in one of the DEI officers' friends to replace you until you have a smile on your face next to this kind of stuff happening. And this kind of stuff happening. And this kind of stuff happening. And this kind of stuff happening. It seems like when you pull the lens back and look at what's happened over the past 4 years, from basically when this all went down in 2021, it's so obvious. Like, you hire the wrong person to put them in charge of HR and see that they bring in all like-minded individuals that look like them, sound like them, are their friend, believe the same things that they believe. It completely removes any actual real diversity from the company. It's all groupthink at that point. I can't. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but what education and skills do I need as a diversity and inclusion officer? Higher education is necessary, and HR related degree provides a good basis. There is currently higher education is necessary, and then right here, there's currently no fixed path for the role of diversity and inclusion. But since it is fundamentally a field related to human resources, says who? Who invented this shit? And why are we taking their word for it? Who made them the arbiter of truth of, oh, this made up position is fundamentally a field related to human resources? Education in an HR related subject will provide an understanding of the issues employees face at the workplace. Oh, so you mean human resources, the already existing position? Gotcha. The HR. So you're saying, what I'm understanding here is this is an HR position, which already exists. And if you're saying, no, the HR people, they don't understand the DEI. They don't understand any of that. Okay, then why not have them, if these trainings are what you do, why not just train them and say now they're certified to be DEI HR people, if that's what it is? Because you want to work there. You want the job. You don't want someone else to get it. You want to create a job from the problem you created, and then you want to fit that role and get paid to just hang out at work. It's wild. Don't neglect your soft skills, aka, yeah, you probably don't have anything to offer, but don't worry, you might have something with your soft skills. What are some ways to become a diversity officer, inclusion officer? I said exclusion, Freudian slip. Paths to becoming a diversity inclusion officer can be very wily and may or may not start outside of the gaming industry, depending on whether the role becomes more widespread over the next few years. Look at them laying down the path of what they're trying to do here 4 years ago. You don't need an official job title to get involved in areas of diversity and inclusion. No, of course not. Just say, hey, I can do that. I can think like you guys think. Almost all participants for this article discovered it as an option for themselves This is not a junior role, and starting off in a diversity and inclusion position straight away is unlikely. Hmm. I can't even with this. Here we go. What difficulties can diversity and inclusion officers face? Conversations about D&I topics can be difficult, and you have to be a trailblazer for others. Affecting change is always difficult, and many parts of the gaming industry still have a ways to go when it comes to diversity and inclusion. You're taking the standpoint of this is the right path. What if I argued that going this direction is not the right path? Then I would say that's a good thing that they have a ways to go from it. Why would you want to go faster into a downfall? This can make the job of diversity and inclusion officer daunting, even when your studio is supportive. This is the one that worked at the company that just laid off a third of their company. These conversations aren't always comfortable, but they're necessary. You have to learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. This is wild. Look at this. 0 comments. 0 comments. And now this is the writer of that article. Melindy is a freelance writer whose equally torrid love affairs with literature, Japan, and Guybrush Threepwood have led her to covering video games. Yeah, that sounds like someone that really loves video games, guys. Yeah, that's a real winner. So it's a white chick, looks like in this picture. I don't know if it's off color or not, but fulfilling fantasies and building investment, the narrative design of Alan Wake 2. The struggles of trying to utilize multiple skill sets, Black Voices Progress Report. The power in granting access to the gaming industry, Black Voices Progress Report. Make yourself undeniable, Black Voices Progress Report. You guys sensing a trend here? Oh, they're still going with it. Creating a diverse future for the games industry. How to support your staff's mental health. And then the one we just read, how to get a job as a diversity and inclusion officer. It's almost, look at this one, first one. How the games industry can put its diversity pledges into action. Back in 2020 for Black Lives Matter. This person, hats off to Melindy. He, she, it, they, them saw an opening and jumped into it. But the funniest part about this is there's 0 comments on this. I can't get over that. For what amounts to a book of a guide, there's 0 comments. That's wild. Makes you wonder if there were comments and they deleted them. Like, because it didn't align with the thought process of this. Again, this is gameindustry.biz, the same place that blocked me on X for daring to ask a question about it was something DEI related, and apparently it was too wrong thing for them, and they blocked me. So yeah, they said leave a comment. I don't know if I even can. Oh, I can't. Check this out. That's curious. Comments for this article are now closed. Thanks for taking part. Weird. Why would they close off comments on this? I thought they were all about inclusivity and diversity. That doesn't fit what they're pushing for. Oh, only if it's aligned with their inclusivity. Gotcha. If you wrong think, you can't be a part of it. Okay. Zombie said it never had comments on. I believe that. I believe that. But yeah, that was basically all I had to say about that one.